Hey guys, Kendra here, and I'm blessed to have two very good friends of mine joining me tonight. And we're going to talk music, just music in general, no specific topic. But I've got PJ-Roc and Jaguar Gator 9 with me. Hey guys, how's it going?
Going good on my end. All is well. I can't complain. How are you, Kendra? What's happening?
I'm good. Hey, Gator 9, JG9 for short. I'll probably just call you that. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. I mean, football season's in full swing of the playoffs, so no complaints on my end. Busy, but a lot of fun. A lot of fun time.
Well,
Fun time.
at least you only got 4 games to worry about this weekend instead of 16.
My voice thanks me for that. My voice thanks me. Thank you.
So I know Colin is a massive Billy Joel fan,
Massive.
and I know he's a Michael Jackson fan as well. Um, PJ, I know you are somewhat of a Michael Jackson fan. What got I'm going to ask about Michael first, and y'all can talk this out. What got you into Michael Jackson? What album was it that really solidified your love of Michael Jackson?
Colin, you want to go first or should I take it?
Yeah, I would say Thriller. I would say the Thriller album definitely got me hooked first. The imagery, the like the music videos and whatnot were incredible. The vocals are just it's sheer raw power with Michael, which is what I really love about him. He can hit notes for that, and very few guys can belt out the way that they do. The other thing with Thriller was that it was all killer, no filler. 9 songs, half an hour, but every song has replay value.
Yeah.
Like there were no skips on that album. And that's what I like about Michael Jackson albums. A lot of them, there's very few, if any, skips. You can just listen to them the whole way through, and you're getting banger after banger after banger.
I do that a lot with Billy Joel stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
and Michael stuff. So yeah, I can understand that. PJ?
Yeah, no question for me. It would have to be Off the Wall. Iconic album, iconic photo work of Michael on the front side of that album and on the back side of that album. This was, I want to say, 79, late
Yeah.
78. Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Rock With You. Rock With You was um, the song that really turned on my Michael gene. I loved all the Kitty stuff, the Jackson 5 stuff, um, kind of before my time a little bit, but really enjoyed that stuff. But the Off the Wall album is, again, what turned on my Michael Jackson gene. Working day and night, get on the floor. If you were to ask me what my favorite Michael Jackson album is today, I would have to say, still, with all of the great stuff he's done, Off the Wall. It was vintage MJ.
Yeah, between Off the Wall and Thriller, I mean, massive ability was shown with those two albums and two very different albums as well. Um, Off the Wall, very disco influenced, especially with Rock With Me and some of the others. And then Thriller was just that almost that hard rock sound that we came to expect from his later 80s albums. But yeah, those two for me, it's hard for me to pick either one of them as my favorite because I like both of them. But
Well, the only reason I picked it is because you made me. Well, did you?
but I think my favorite, the one that I really got that put Michael on my radar was the Bad album.
Bad.
Oh yeah.
Um, and hearing because at that time I was listening to top 40 radio
Hmm.
while everyone else was listening to country around me. So um, I that was one of the things I heard Bad and then saw the music video and I was hooked. And then I started going back through his older stuff. So
Yeah. I still think "Leave Me Alone" is his most underrated song.
It's a
I think
great
that
song.
oh,
most
very much so.
yeah.
Ghost is another very underrated song by him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The funny part about going back to Rock with You, one of my favorite facts. I don't know how this would have played out, but originally that song was offered to Karen Carpenter.
Yeah.
I don't know
Absolutely.
how that would have played out because I cannot imagine her doing that song. I love Karen Carpenter.
Yeah. It would have been a very different song. You're
Yeah,
right. It definitely would have been a very different song. The thing with Michael, um, the minute you heard that voice, whether it's Little Michael or Rock with You, Michael, there was something infectious about that voice. Remember, when I initially experienced Michael, well, I'm assuming most of us, but there was no social media, there was no streaming, there was none
No,
of
you
that.
had to go buy the album.
Right. It was the radio, it was going to, get the CDs and stuff. And even with that limited, and I say limited because I mean, if Thriller had happened today, just imagine, right? So, um, yeah, Michael was just um, this this guy with this voice from somewhere else. You know what I mean? It was just nobody was sounding like that. He brought a certain energy. Anytime you saw him, um, when Michael was well, he was just this towering figure of a pop icon, and I just loved his energy and that voice. And you're right about that song, absolutely overrated. But you go back and you look at Rock with You, and you listen to his voice, and it's poetry in motion. It really is. I'm a huge Michael fan.
I love Michael. I think the amazing thing is just how like perfect his voice is. If you ever watch the "We Are the World" like the behind the scenes
Yeah.
when they record "We Are the World," it's like he does like 20 takes, and every single take sounds exactly the same. Every other
It,
artist like they fluctuate with the takes, and everything is like pitch perfect every single time.
how iconic was that video,
Oh,
right? Classic vintage Michael with the aviator shades,
yes.
right? With his royal, you know,
Jacket.
jacket on.
Yeah.
He's about what 110 pounds at the time, in tip top shape, looking like Peter Pan. And yeah, they
And
just blew that.
he handpicked that chorus too. He handpicked every person in there. Um
It's a
and
great time.
only one person turned him down from what I've researched on that video. But that actually so that the We Are the World thing came off of another big collaboration similar to that, the from the Christmas before, in Europe or in the UK, a bunch of UK artists did a Christmas song for hunger relief, and then Quincy and Michael got together to do the We Are
Are
the
you
World
talking
thing.
about Feed the World? Was that it?
Feed that,
Feed the
yeah. Three Days
world.
Christmas. Yep.
Was
Yeah,
that one? Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the
That's
yeah,
fun.
precursor to it all.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
84. That was like late 84, I think.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and it was recorded. I want to say it was recorded on the day after the American Music Awards that year.
That's right, because they all had to be together right in one spot. And that's why this
That's
whole
why they
thing came
chose
about.
that was because everyone would be in one spot.
Billy Joel, who was one of Colin's favorite artists, was definitely present and huge at the time. Now,
Billy
my
Joel was
favorite, and I know
massive.
he's going to jump in here, my favorite Billy Joel song happens to be what I think is just, I don't know, some of his best work. It's Piano Man.
It's a classic.
Oh man, that's vintage Billy Joel. You know what I mean? He just took it. That was such a huge risk, that song. But yeah,
And
anyway.
that length, the length of it too,
Yeah.
was a big risk.
5.5 minutes.
Yeah.
The harmonica solo and piano solo and everything. Like
Storytelling at its finest. Just great stuff.
My favorite Billy Joel song has to be Stiletto. Not a single, but a very good song.
Yeah.
And what actually what turned me on to Stiletto was actually the My Life video, because it at the when he's walking down the street on that video, they're playing Stiletto, and then it cuts to My Life. So that's what I was like, I got to find out what this song is, because I love that beat, and turned out it was Stiletto.
Nice.
I think if you want vintage storytelling with vintage piano playing and just the way he weaves everything into together, I would go scenes from an Italian restaurant. I would go with
Yeah,
scenes. That
that's
is
got to be my number two.
that's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
How he weaves all those songs in together with each other, brings it back to the beginning at the very end. The storytelling there is phenomenal. He's a masterful lyricist.
No question about it. And
Colin, what did you think of that video that they made during COVID for scenes for the Italian restaurant?
I love the animation style for that one. I love the sketchbook style. I thought they did a very good job with that.
And then Zanzibar got a video made for it as well. I made you watch both of those back to back one night. Very different styles though.
Very.
Um,
The other one was very like 70s neon, like very much like that. But they both work really well for the songs and for what we're trying to convey.
yeah.
has Billy Joel gotten his due? So I'm assuming that Billy Joel is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? He has to be. Uh,
Uh, yeah.
William Martin Joel. He was born in May in 1949. Songwriter, pianist. His nickname, of course, is the Piano Man, after his signature 1973 song of the same name. He's had a brilliant music career as a solo artist since the 1970s. Billy
70,
Joel.
Colin, wasn't 76 his first hit?
Piano Man was 73, I think, became a hit.
Oh,
I think Piano Man
73.
73 was the first,
Yeah.
was the year it became a hit.
Has he gotten his
Uh,
due? Has he gotten his due?
the My Life albums, when I really, that was the first album I heard of his. And then I went, of course, to go back and listen to all the stuff. But my, I got big into Billy thanks to Garth.
Oh, it's Shameless.
Um, Garth Brooks covering Shameless, uh, and then doing You May Be Right at the end of all his shows. And then I found out that Garth does Miami 2017 during soundcheck. So he's playing 3 Billy songs every show, basically.
Wow. Yeah.
And if you want to take 3 very different Billy Joel songs, those are 3 very different Billy Joel songs.
Yeah,
But
I feel like it's
go
definitely
ahead.
better to do. I mean, I'm biased 'cause I grew up in New York, so everyone knows who Billy Joel is. He's a legend over there. So his songs still play on adult contemporary radio all the time. He's still a massive thing there. He sells at the Garden every single month and has for the last decade.
Just one of those New Yorkers. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, he
Billy
embodies New York.
Joel associated. Okay, so why am I, and correct me on this if I'm wrong. Was it Billy Joel who did, and it's soundtrack stuff here? If we get caught between the moon and New York City, was that him? Was that
That was
Billy?
Christopher Cross. That was
That's
Arthur
Christopher.
Museum.
So Billy Joel never did a cover of that, right?
Never.
Okay. I don't know why I. Maybe he would have done a great job on that song. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, but do you believe, the way we look at legends and stuff, um, here in America? Do you think that Billy Joel has gotten his due? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean he still sells out stadiums
Culturally,
and
yeah. Mhm.
arenas everywhere. He still has millions of fans.
Yep.
Um, I mean, Sirius XM, they have a Billy Joel channel just dedicated to him. They bring him back every single year. I mean,
Right.
again,
Plus,
I'm pretty biased because I grew up in New York, so so I
Sure.
don't know what's like elsewhere in the country,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he absolutely gets his due at least locally. Like
Yeah.
he is New York.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like
For
Oasis
me,
in Minneapolis. He is New York.
yeah, the whole connection he has with Long Island is amazing, and he credits Big Man on Mulberry Street to being in the right place at the right time to write it, basically in New York. And New York state of mind, he wrote that on the way from LA back to New York, on a Greyhound. So riding cross country. His daughter tells a story when she does her little segment on Sirius XM. We Like I said, twice a year they bring that channel back, usually February and October. Um, but she does a segment talking about her favorite songs of his, and of course, Downeaster Alexa is her absolute favorite because it's about her. Um, and then the lullaby is her second favorite because that was something he sang to her when he and Christy were getting a divorce. So it's amazing to hear her stories of growing up with a supermodel mom a and a superstar dad. It's fun to listen to it, and I think I think I catch it usually. I usually catch it once a year. Last year I was able to catch it both times they had it on. But one of the things they do on that is they literally run A to Z.
Mhm.
They go Allentown all the way to Zanzibar. Every track he ever released. Um, and I asked Colin this 2 weeks ago, I think, uh, what the best deep dive from or yeah deep deep track from each album is, and he's like, there are none. There are no deep tracks because everyone knows every track now.
Yeah, like
You know,
Vienna was not a single, and now that's his biggest thing. Like Scenes was not a single, and
right?
that's a huge song. It's tough to say what a cut is for a guy like Billy Joel because it's different because he hasn't released any new music since 1993, since River of Dreams. So the last 30 years, he's played the same songs over and over again. So like if there's a song that he really likes and there's a song that everyone likes, he's gonna play it. So it's not really like a deep cut or a surprise when he does.
Yeah. What's the final track on River of Dreams is um can't think of the name of it now.
Famous last words.
Famous Last Words. Yeah, and it was literally him saying he's got nothing left to say. He's got nothing left to write, and all he's written since then is instrumental. So,
Must be nice. He's said it all, and now he can just play the stuff that he's been playing for the last 40 years or so.
yeah,
Um,
his venture into doo-wop was fun is fun to listen to, for the longest time. They do that a cappella, um, on stage, and it sounds amazing. I've gotten to see some videos of it. The one year that he was in Texas that I could have gone, was at the Arlington, the ballpark in Arlington, former home of the Rangers. I saw him. I would have seen him there as the final show there, and I didn't get to go because I had to work. But I heard that was amazing for an outdoor concert. But yeah, there's lots of songs by him. You know, we could spend 3 hours talking about his music, and you know, it's fun to talk. It's fun when people understand your love for a certain artist because they love that same artist just as much.
Very cool. Now, I may not love him as much, Taz, but I certainly appreciate your fondness for, Mr. Joel. You know, what introduced me to Billy Joel was MTV. And as a kid, I was a, huge consumer of MTV. MTV
As was I.
exposed, yeah, I mean, MTV exposed me to, a ton of different things. Um, and it was through a lot of those videos, that I became hip to. Uptown Girl was a really cool one, and correct me if I'm wrong, Colin. There was maybe that song was based in a bit of truth about his then, I don't know, wife or girlfriend.
Yes.
And so, that was interesting when the VJ would bring that on in MTV. That would sort of be the tease going into it sometimes. So I have a strong association with Billy and my whole MTV experience, probably maybe like you guys do.
I watched MTV a little bit. Of course, I watched MTV probably 86 to
Mm,
93 ish. So I got to see MTV when it was actually 90% music and 10% TV shows.
gotcha, gotcha.
Um, I remember the show Remote Control. That was kind of the game. That was kind of my favorite game show to watch.
Yeah,
So, and Colin knows quite a few of the shows that I watched growing up.
Good ones. Some good ones.
Yeah, you can't do that on television, and
oh yeah.
Square One, and some others. But yeah, I kind of shocked Colin making him watch Square One night, and when he was doing overtime, he actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was a good show. It was good. Yeah, I
Square.
did not grow up on MTV because I was by the time that I was like growing up, MTV was not at all.
Right,
It was, now there is a channel called MTV Classic now that just plays nothing but music videos. It's automated.
right.
There's no VJs, there's no nothing, but
All bot action, right?
yeah, it's really good. I do like watching that
Yeah.
a
Well,
lot.
the MTV DJs, the MTV VJs are too busy working for Sirius XM now.
Right.
Yes.
I think they're all gainfully
They're
employed.
on Classic Rewind
Mhm.
and 80s on 8. So
Yep. And then
that's their
Downtown
two
Julie
big
Brown is
jobs.
on 90s on 9. So
So, what was
Yeah.
Billy Joel's? Because I don't know this at all. What was his biggest project, commercially, chart wise? What
I
would you
think
say was
we have
his
three
biggest?
number one hits. Was it
Mhm.
Still Rock and Roll to Me hit number one, Tell Her About It hit number one, and then We Didn't Start the Fire hit number one.
Okay.
and I think I would say Tell Her About It is probably the lesser
Yeah, he
single.
rarely plays that. He rarely plays that anymore.
Yeah. The video for that was kind of an Ed Sullivan callback. And then Still Rock and Roll to Me, that was just him on a soundstage with his band for the video. And then We Didn't Start the Fire. I think that's probably the biggest hit. That's the most impactful because, and even he has said, he goes on YouTube, he gets notifications on YouTube daily for people using that song um, for different things, and he never blocks it. So, I mean, that's a testament that says he understands how significant that song is and how many teachers use that song in their history classes.
And the crazy part about how good Billy Joel is that that song is literally just him listing off stuff. Like
Yeah.
there's no real plot, there's no real story, there's no real like thing here. It's just him singing the same exact note for every single thing, and it's just him rambling off just random stuff.
And just absolutely powerful.
It's amazing.
And
Yeah.
he said he could have written 3 more verses to that song without taking away from what he actually wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was all because um forget the artist's son. Basically, he was in the studio. The next studio over was another artist. His son came over to see what Billy was doing, was talking about how he didn't he didn't have anything um to sit back on like World War II vets did, like his parents' generation did. And he literally wrote the song because of that comment of saying there's nothing, your generation isn't known for anything. And he I mean, he wrote a 5-minute song listing all, or 3.5 minute song listing off all that stuff. Uh, So yeah. The Entertainer's another great song by him. And live, he actually sticks a verse in that got cut out of the album version. So, uh,
That's the
but
great irony in that is because he talked about in the Entertainer, the point of the song is that he had a hit and it was too long.
yeah, he's talking about Piano Man being a hit that was too long and getting cut down, and then the Entertainer actually ran long and they cut a verse out. So, it's that one. I think that had a lot of other commentary in it as well, just about the music business in general. And um Henley has actually said that the Entertainer is what inspired them after one of their songs got cut down badly. That's what inspired them to write Desperado.
Hmm.
So
I think one of his, for me, more interesting songs that really speaks culturally is still Rock and Roll to Me. That song, I think, is um, just for me. I've always connected with that song's the lyrics and the whole sentiment.
yeah.
Um, but behind
Keeping the Faith is another one that kind of follows that same line of it's still rock and roll to me. The whole, I started out doing this, I'm now doing this. Why is everyone hating on me
yeah,
for changing slightly? And it's still rock and roll. It's still what I love doing. It's just a different sound. And
it's the
you
age
know,
old purist versus progressives.
and I love the video for that one. It's in a courtroom, and you know, it, it's just a great video to watch over and over, and you see little different snippets of cool stuff each time you watch it.
Very cool. And yeah. So how did you um develop this deep appreciation, Colin, um for Billy Joel?
I mean, I grew up in New York and I love playing the piano. So it's like if you grew up in New York and you love piano, Billy Joel is the guy. Billy Joel is the guy. His music is inescapable. His music, at least in my household, was inescapable. And for most of New York, it's pretty much inescapable. Just the way he plays. I'm always just fascinated by the way that people play the piano and the way he plays and the storytelling and the different sounds. Like every album is different, but at the same time, it's cohesive. Everything sounds like Billy Joel, but every album is different. Every era is very different. 52nd Street's a very different era from The Stranger, very different from Glass Houses, but it all sounds like Billy Joel, very different from Innocent Man. But I love the evolution that he has.
Yeah, I can't get that speaking of Glass Houses, that classic album cover
Oh yeah,
is just you know what I mean? You talk about iconic musicography, to coin a phrase here today.